Hello, my friends. I'm Chris Biffle, Coach B, Director of Whole Brain Teaching, and this is the beginning of a wondrous new journey for us. We're going to create the best teacher training videos on this planet or any other. Wait and see. One thing we've already got going for us is our trainings are going to be free. So leave a comment, and for today, get in the habit of putting your first name in the comment. I'll just wait a second because we want these videos to be snappy. Here is our subject for today. We're talking about common teaching mistakes, and this is from the second edition of Whole Brain Teaching for Challenging Kids. Common teaching mistakes. So I'll ask you, first of all, love to see some comments. I'll ask you, first of all, what are some mistakes that you've made in the past? And I'll tell you one of my big mistakes. Talking too long, my friends. Anybody else share that mistake? Carla, welcome. All right. Power struggle, says someone else. Yes, that's a dandy mistake. Patricia says chapter 3 is awesome. I'm delighted to hear that. So let's dive into it. I want you, if you have your books, and hopefully you do, go to this page here. This page is 19. Put a box around those topics. And I'm going to go through the topics one by one. First off, Nancy Stoltenberg just posted resources, and those are some links to some valuable online material. And I'm going to talk about the first thing we do, which we ought not to, which is lose our temper. Think about this, my friends. We're doing things that make our teaching job harder. Why would we do that? When you lose your temper at children, you're always going to lose because they will not calm down first, and you're going to feel guilty later. But losing your temper, when your amygdala is activated, deep inside the brain, your alarm switch will activate their amygdala. So it's lizard brain with lizard brain. That makes your job harder. Could I get some comments now about anyone who's made the mistake of thinking that losing your temper at kids is going to produce a superior teaching situation? Nancy, go ahead and drop in the first point. And notice the beauty of this system. We're taking notes for you. All you have to do is go through the chat, cut, copy, and paste Nancy's points in your journal. And also, my friends, this video will be a permanent part of this Facebook page. So I want you here on time, but you didn't have to be here on time. You can come back and view it anytime. We're going to put them in a special album, and we will show you how to get to that album in another webcast. Here's Kathleen McKinney. Kathleen McKinney, bless your soul, you're guilty. I'm not going to ask for true confessions, Kathleen. Guilty. And Kathleen, here's Pam Gaddis, your sister, who also says she's guilty. And Jennifer, my good friend Jennifer, says, Losing your temper doesn't work. All right. Can we take a solemn pledge here before we start the new year? We, the united whole brain teachers of the world, pledge to control our temper. Now, you might say, Coach, I'm only human. I've got some kids that are pushing my buttons as much as I don't want them to. What do I do? Here's what you do. You say, I'm starting to become upset. We'll talk about this later. We call that strategic retreat. Can you give me a Yahoo for strategic retreat? Because it models what anyone should do when they're getting upset. Let's take a break. Joanna Willis, my good friend Wilsey, is taking the pledge. Pam Gaddis, one of our rising stars, she loves strategic retreat. All right. That's one thing that we can do that makes our teaching job harder. Here's the second thing. Number 2, my friends, we think that we can punish kids into good behavior. That doesn't work. We think if we give kids enough consequences, they'll be model students. You know, if I keep him in from recess enough times, he's going to understand that there's no more of that foolishness in my class and he's going to shape up. Doesn't work that way. We cannot address kids in an angry tone of voice or give them penalties and expect to see improved behavior. What we'll see is worse behavior. Has anyone had the experience, and be honest, Veronica says she's in, has anyone had the experience of assessing harsh penalties on a kid and it's increased the problem? If nothing else, it breaks the bond between you and the child. Now you might say, Coach, what am I going to do if I can't punish him? Read second edition, The Whole Brain Teaching for Challenging Kids, and we have a plethora, there is a vocabulary word, a plethora of strategies that are alternates to punishment. Now, footnote, a kid engages in dangerous behavior, then whatever the school policy is, follow the policy. But back talk, we have a response to that. A kid cries and rolls on the floor. A kid is crying and rolling on the floor, and you say, you need to get back in your chair, young man, or you're going to miss recess. Have you ever noted that when you're upset, someone threatening you does not cheer you up? We will describe what to do when a kid is crying and rolling on the floor. That's a whole chapter called Strong 5. Oh, Patricia Steele, what author can resist readers who quote them? All right, Nancy, put in the second point. The second point is we can't punish kids into good behavior. So there's 2 things that we do that make our job harder. I want another public declaration that you're going to give up looking to your own behavior that severs connections from kids and start using whole brain teaching techniques that build connections. Our motto is only connect. Here's a Facebook user. Strong 5 works. So this is a major alternative, and there's lots of them, to punishment. We got to change the behavior, not hammer the behavior. All right. Number three. Number three is be organized. When you go into a superb classroom, whole brain teaching or otherwise, you can tell by the look of things. That teacher has spent hundreds of hours creating stuff, rearranging stuff, buying stuff, putting stuff up. Be organized. One of the founders of whole brain teaching, Jay Vanderfin, said to me memorably one day, all my kids have colored pencils and they know exactly on their desk where they should be. More disorganized classroom, more disorganized teacher, more chaotic instruction. That is the third thing, which Nancy will now put in the comments. See, we're taking notes for you. That's the third thing that makes our jobs harder. Now, what I'd like you to do is, I want you to have your books open somehow and be typing at the same time. But notice what I'm saying. I'm going to this particular page and I'm expanding those points. And once I expand the points, then I have an annotation that I want you to add at the bottom. Don't panic about reading the small print annotation. I'll get there. All right. The next item on our agenda. My friends, pay attention to Jenny Klein all the time because she is not a rising star. She is a constellation in the whole brain teaching sky. Andre says chaos breeds chaos. Andre is the Associate Director of Whole Brain Teaching, and we are honored to have him here today. Now, you know teachers who don't love teaching, and they think they can hide it. Fall in love with your profession. Your profession is so full of wondrous blessings. It's so hard, my friends, to make a living in the world by doing good. Love the profession, love the kids, love the challenges. That's what it's all about. Because if you're a little aggravated, kids can pick it up. And the teachers who don't like teaching have the most disruptive kids. Tell me, have you seen that odd thing? Teachers who are disaffiliated from their job create disaffiliated, disconnected kids, which makes them more disaffiliated. We call that the merry-go-round in purgatory. Teachers making kids unhappy who make teachers unhappy. Here's my Facebook user. WBT makes me love teaching more, and I didn't think it was possible because I love what I do. Bless your soul. Here is my new friend, Veronica Byers, who says she's been teaching for decades and whole brain teaching has changed her approach to the profession. Veronica, golden ticket coming for you. All right, Nancy, drop in the fourth point. If you don't love your job, you're making it harder. All right, point number 4, friends. Point number 4 is, let's be honest. Actually, this is point number 5. Point number 5, it takes hours to create a few minutes of good instruction. That's just the truth. Has anybody experienced that? You do a ton of stuff to get a short little snippet of jazzy teaching. Kathleen McKinney, if you will stay with us, we're going to help you fall in love with teaching again. Kathleen, look at the book. Don't get overwhelmed, but no matter what else, get going with stories on day 1, morning 1. That's my suggestion to you, Kathleen McKinney. Anybody else have suggestions for Kathleen, our dear sister? Because we're a family, mostly women. Any other suggestions for Kathleen to help her fall in love with teaching again? Because it's a long year. Oh my goodness gracious, who is this person? Give me your first name. I've been teaching for 45 years and just started learning about WBT. I love teaching, but I'm very excited to go back with WBT. I feel like I have so much to learn. You do. Welcome to the world's greatest trainings. Me and you and everybody who loves having fun in the classroom. All right, our point was, it's a lot of work. But the nice thing is, when you make a really well-crafted bit of instruction, you can use it again, just wrap it in new whole brain teaching strategies. Stories and class yes, and thank you, you're welcome, and teach okay, and 10-finger woo, and wonder words. Make the thing and then keep reviving it with strategies we describe in the second edition. All right, Nancy, drop in those notes for our good friends. Here's number 6. Number 6, the 6th way that we make our job harder is give up. Let's see how much of this we can get here. Oh, look, there's the whole thing, my friends. That's from Nancy. And a direct quote. We're putting in the quotes so that you know places in the book to go back to and read more about it. And you can use these quotes as underlining. All right, we're up to number 6. And the 6th point is, don't look for you in the classroom. Don't say, I was never like that. I paid attention. I did my homework. I don't know what's wrong with these kids. They are not you. And face it, you are not that good anyway. Come on, people. You looked around the classroom, you chatted with your friends. Your kids are not your clones. Here's another friend. Colitis. I got exhausted teaching this year, but using WBT this upcoming year, I'm sure it's going to be better. It's going to be a lot better. Just go slow. So your kids are not your clones. Nancy, give them that one. Here's the 7th one. Now, my strategy here is that instead of, yes, I'm going to make that one hide. I'm going to hide all these. My strategy is that we're going to have short videos and long discussions. Instead of having a 1-hour Zoom that's all over the place, let's get through the points. Let's get interplay with the teachers, which is the most important and most fun. So I'm already to my 7th point. Here's the 6th one that Nancy just put up. My 7th point is this: grow or die. That is the law of the universe. There's no holding steady in teaching. You're either paddling downstream. I just thought this one out. Give me a 10-finger whoop. You're either paddling downstream and you're flowing along and you're getting places, or you're turned around paddling upstream going nowhere and your craft is about to sink. You've got to grow, you've got to grow, you've got to grow. If you're a sapling in the forest, you've got to be growing or you're going to be smothered in the shadows. If you've got a business, you've got to keep growing it or get swallowed by the big boys. Grow or die. Now, here's the moment. Friends, I want you to look at your books. Eventually, if you can't do it right now, put a check mark by the item most important for your growth. What are you going to work on? Tell us right now. Control your temper. Stop relying on punishment. Improve your organization. Love your profession more. Spend more time creating great stuff out of the classroom. Give up on looking at yourself for yourself in the class, or grow more. I'm sorry, Reagan, you can only pick one. Facebook user says stop relying on punishment. Patricia Bailey, here we go. Let's look at it. Organization. Stop relying on punishment. Work hard. Oh, face strategic retreat. Go ahead. Grow more. Control my temper. Veronica's been teaching a long time, says more organization. So does Jennifer. This is what a great training is all about, my friends. It's me and you helping each other. I said this year, grow or die. I grew and reflected on the new learners we have to use more WBT strategies. Going to talk my partner into using some strategies. Flight school. Strategic retreat, says Reagan. Pam says, control temper. And you know what? I know Pam. She seems so mellow. She has her mellow mask on when she's talking to Coach. Wear it all day, Pam. It's beautiful. Yes, give up punishing kids into good behavior. Reward for the behavior that you want. Reward for the behavior that you want. Use flight school, Starry's Super Improver, Scoreboard, Beloved Rascal, Strong 5, lots of stuff. And in January, if you're still having a tough time, go to Bullseye. Christy, that is so good that if you remind me, I'm going to give you a golden ticket as well. Patricia, I'm going to hold you to it. Now, my friends, let's have some jazzy stuff here. Look at that. How do you like that? Ha ha ha. Oh, that's not all. How groovy is that? Come on now. Share this video wildly. All right, I'll take questions now. Love to answer some questions. The main broadcast is over. It took us only 24 minutes to get through it. And that's our goal, is to have short videos, extended discussions. Ask your coach some questions. Nancy just put up this wonderful block of text. That's the 7th one. Jennifer, it just keeps getting better. Friends, is everybody sitting down? Because I'm going to show you another part of our astonishing new training system. But I don't want people falling out of their chairs with delighted shock and hurting themselves. I just want to hear, yes, socks removed. Nancy, I'll get back to you. Socks removed, strapped in. Here's what's coming. That's right. I've got to show you this. I'm sorry, but I have to show you this. Let me see. Here's what I want to show you. Nancy and I and other people are making a guide to accompany all of the trainings. Here's the whole guide for the training we just had, chapter 3. Here's the guide for chapter 4. Here's the guide for chapter 5 with illustrations built in. Here's the guide for chapter 6. Now listen to this, because this is new and it's heart-stoppingly wonderful. Listen, when the trainings are over towards the end of the summer, we will put the guide on Teachers Pay Teachers in an editable form. You can then go through the guide and rearrange things, cut and copy, and create a whole year's curriculum of WBT strategies to fit under your unique bonnet. The whole thing editable. Every video, every slide, every link, every suggestion, every quotation, over 30 units that you can cut, copy, and paste and move around. And so you take video 4 and you make it number 1 and you put some notes for yourself, and video 8 and you make it number 2. Do you get that, Facebook user? Did your head just explode? I'm sorry. How did we get so? Karen, I think you, my friends, we're not a business. If we were a business, we'd be selling this to you and be making millions. You see This is my room here. You notice that there isn't a window that opens upon the beach at San Diego or Hawaii. It's going to be so useful, Christy Money. Oh, wait. Andre always has the right phrase for it. Curated professional development. All right, that's coming. Now, and you get to drink foamy lattes. All right, give me some questions now. We got plenty of time. We're only in 29 minutes. Give me some questions. Someone said, what do you do about a kid who always says why? Give me a little more information there. I have a couple of ideas. A little more information. Give me some questions. I had to go to that. I had to show it to you. Well, bless you, dear Facebook user. We're going to have this set up so you're not going to be Facebook user anymore. We'll set it up so that you can log in and just let StreamYard know what you're up to. All right, this is a good one. How do I help my kids that are absent lots? That is a very, very tough question. And my view is you have to be very creative with your seating. You have to tell kids at the beginning of the year, I'm always investigating different combinations. You have a couple of kids, Suzanne, you have a couple of kids in your class who love to teach others. Sit that kid next to these other kids. It's not ideal. But Suzanne, if you really invest in the magic circle and every 45 to 60 seconds kids are teaching each other, this kid is going to be connected, which is your number one goal. This kid is going to be connected to another charismatic student. And if they're connected to that other charismatic student, and you know who those kids are, that's going to give them a reason for showing up at school. That's the best answer I've ever had. Could I get a 10-finger woo? Your goal is not to improve their academic skills if you're not seeing them very often. Your goal initially is to teach them that there's somebody that really cares about them at school who's a cool person. That'll get them there. All right, Pam. What do you do with students who don't care about their learning? It's a long year, my friend. Use Super Improver, and the instant that you see progress, let's take example about writing. You tell the kids, all right, I want you to write a messy sentence and a neat sentence, a messy sentence and a neat sentence. And you have your clipboard and you go around the classroom. And his messiness, Jack, your messiness got even messier. You're really focusing on what I'm saying. That's a point for you. The more like a living video game you can make your classroom, and instant small rewards, the more that kid is going to care about learning because you're releasing dopamine in their brain. Someone who is a very good teacher once told me it takes them 3 months to get everybody on board with just the basics of the routine. All right, here's Nancy. I just had a student that questioned everything I asked him to do, everything. He brought scissors to the rug. I said, scissors don't come to the rug. He said, why? I'm not exaggerating when he said why to everything, even simple instructions like we're walking back to our seats. All right, number one, Nancy, and this is important. You took worries about that kid home every single day. Every child deserves the same amount of worry. So first of all, Nancy, promise your family here that you're going to care about everyone the same amount. And when the school day is over, you're not going to carry that child home on your back and make your family pay for the difficulties. Now, the child had a behavior that was based on, I believe, a weak connection between you and the kid. So I'm not going to say this is what you do when you have them doing X. If they're doing X repeatedly and it's so obvious to them that it's getting under your skin, they need some bond building. And I recommend the chapter Connections. Connections shows how to build bonds with kids when they don't know that's what you're up to. The closer you are to this child, the more you understand what they're crazy about, because this kid loved Minecraft. The more you nourish that relationship, the less relationship severing behavior that you'll get. So you got to backload. That's a pretty good answer. Nancy, could you put in what chapter number 12 is? All right. Wait, let me go up here. How can I go to my principal and get them more into WBT rather than a huge spreadsheet for RTI? All right, here's the deal, Suzanne. You are a newbie in whole brain teaching. You are not an evangelist yet. Leave your principal alone. Polish your craft. Nancy, put in a link for wholebrainteaching.com, and Suzanne, start getting certified today. Your classroom will speak for itself. And if it doesn't speak for itself to your principal, let it speak for itself on these Facebook pages. Become an evangelist, but start with change agents. Your principal may not be a change agent, but all around you right now, my friend, are change agents who want to hear about what you're doing, Suzanne. Suzanne, would you give me a 10-finger woo? People, I'm on a roll here. Come on, give me another question. All right, Nicole, I know a lot of people don't use rewards, just stars and WBT. I'm going back and forth whether you use tickets for a weekly drawing for a small prize or just use stars as their reward. Anyone have both? I'll tell you what, Nicole, every time we've seen a double system, you get a ticket or you get a star. That's like saying to a kid, you get a ticket or you get to level up. Which do you want? I think, look, you know what I'm going to say. I'm saying tickets are extrinsic rewards. And a kid begins to think the purpose of going to school is to get a chit of paper to buy a weird pencil at the student store. That's not the point of school. When the kid improves their reading speed, they shouldn't get a cuddle toy. They should get something that says, I improved my reading speed, I'm leveling up. Reward for improvement, reward for improvement, reward for growth. And if you're doing both, I think you're doing too much bookkeeping. Anybody else got some advice? Connections is chapter 18. Andre, put a little bit longer comment there because Andre is Connector. Andre, would you like that as a new street name, Connector? It kind of has that video game feel. Andre, give us a little more on the importance of connections. Only connect. More questions. We're rolling, people. Thank you, Suzanne. Go get certified. Nancy Stoltenberg will be your new best friend. Here's more information for you, Suzanne. Your kids will speak louder than you about WBT. Wilsey says you don't need small prizes. Another person says they're thrilled with stars. Another person says no treasure boxes. We need to give tickets for PBIS. Oh, my friend. Yes, you do. But the quantity of tickets is up to you. If you place heavy emphasis on Super Improver, especially with a big, bold display, 4 feet by 4 feet, you say you don't have room in your classroom? What else do you have on your walls that's motivating kids to work like they're playing a video game? Huge Super Improver display, huge Starries display. Those intrinsic rewards will have more value than PBIS stuff. So just soft sell it. Here is your magic cube. Anybody fallen in love with dice rolls and whole brain teaching? Because we found, and listen, I got to tell you, say, where's the research? We get 50 to 100 messages a day on our Facebook pages about what's working, what's not working. You multiply that by 365 days a year. Tens of thousands of teachers are contributing to this system. And I work with 30 or 40 teachers every week. We meet, and they all tell me the same thing. Coach, last day of the year, they're still crazy about dice rolls. Why? They still have a nucleus accumbens. They still are generating dopamine. It didn't go out of style. All right. Here we go. It's amazing how hard they work for stars. Intrinsic motivation is where it is. Patricia Steele, there's dynamite power in leveling up. Especially if you make it as a living legend. Here is Lori Schaefer. Lori Schaefer, you win a golden ticket too. I hope everybody remembers. I just started Super Improver after spring break, and my kids, much, all capitals, referred leveling up to junk in my prize box. Here's my Facebook user. Tell us who you are, Facebook user. I haven't bought a single treasure box trinket in 2 years. Not only has behavior and relationships improved, my bank account and husband are grateful. Well, that's all we care about. Make your banker and your hubby happy. Okay. Great question, Reen. Here's where we're going for this school year. You lock everything. So you have a poster for each rule, lock them up, and only unlock them when you begin to see progress. You have 8 wonder words. Lock them up and unlock one at a time. You have brainies. Lock them up and unlock one at a time. You have the weekly happies, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Lock them up and unlock them one at a time. Lock up all your scoreboard levels. Lock up all the stories except the first 10, and underneath the locks, put special adventures. If you look at the stories chapter, there's some challenges. Make your classroom like a living video game and tell kids, I feel so sorry for you that you have to play on these little tablets. You're playing on a little tablet. Oh, my friends. We don't play on tablets. We're inside a video game, and the game is as big as the school. Check it out. Lock everything you possibly can. Oh, and here's the other thing. Reen, we have over 100 power picks, core concepts and language arts. Over 100 power picks, core concepts in math. Figure out which ones you're going to use, put them on the wall, and lock them up. Now, what do you get if you unlock something, boys and girls? It's a side quest. This is a new way to earn stories. This is a new way to earn super improver points. Kids love side quests. What happens when you have a school-wide plan that rewards students with tickets? Do it as little as possible. Soft sell it. Every veteran teacher knows a way to fit what they believe is effective inside the school system. So, Barbara Lee, I'm handing you through the screen your invisible WBT ninja mask. Oh, put it on. And now you're finding ways, secret ways, to help kids that's more effective than the tickets. Barbara Lee, how do you feel about being a WBT ninja, the first one ever? Patricia, I think it really does matter why they're in flight school. So definitely, on flight school, I would just have one thing that we're all in for, following directions quickly. Or all we're working on is raise your hand for permission to speak. Or more generally, making smart choices. Or more generally still, keeping our dear team stronger. Or eyes on the target. Do not put a bunch of kids in flight school for more than one target. That's a good, simple answer. I have a student next year, I've been told, works well with a token system. So starting this minute one, day one is so important. That's what you got to do it. But once that child sees their name is on the wall and they're turtle white, but Maria has now become penguin blue, and Harry is one level higher still, kangaroo. Let's see where those tokens go. Interesting experiment. Well, if you're halfway through silver certification now, Facebook user, put your name in there so that Nancy remembers to think about you day and night. Uh-oh. You're all looking for, here's word from the connector. I'm liking that. When we know Wild Jack's dog's name, we greatly improve the chance he will open his math book. Genius! Raise your hand if you would have had a better year last year if you knew the names of all of the pets of your beloved rascals. Come on, raise your hand. That's a great idea. Connector, write a book on knowing the names of kids' pets. This is what I truly love. What I truly love is when a kiddo levels up and the whole class cheers for him or her. Come on, who thinks they would have had a better year if they knew the names of their beloved rascals' pets? How can you convince your teaching partner? Here's the deal, Reagan. You can't. You're pushing a car that has flat tires and a dead battery. I'm sorry. Do your thing. However you can. Reagan, I've already done this for another one. I'm handing you through the screen the invisible WBT ninja mask. Be clever. Find a way around the obstacle because it's best for your kids. We've had teachers who changed everything after 30 or 40 years because they saw what works. Find a way around the obstacle. Here's my friend, Susanna Leah Austin Rhodes. I had no candy jar, no treasure chest, no tickets last year, just stars. All right, my friends, this was a huge success. Nancy, would you put in the complete notes for this session? Even if you already have. And notice all the wonderful comments and suggestions. I gotta feature this one. I have locks over my locks. They unlock super improver and rules and wonder words, etc. Then under those locks are the individual aspects to continue unlocking it is huge. Shelley, everything is going to be repeated in this new format. Now we have a place where anyone can go to see the videos. We're just going to publicize a little bit better how to get there. And we're going to publicize a little bit better how to log into StreamYard so we can see your names. All right, my friends. Thank you so much. Pray for this next year. This is why I love not being a teaching employee, that I can talk about the spiritual side. Pray for this next year. Why don't we charge? Because the person who gave us these materials didn't charge us a cent, okay? God bless us all. Stay tuned to this page. I'm going to post chapter 4 in a day or so, and we'll do this again. About 15 or 20 minutes of the material, then lots of discussion. God bless us all. We'll see you down the road. Hallelujah and amen.